Well, hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is my first installment in a new series I've got, which is called Master in League Play. The series is basically about, it's going to be tips and tricks on how to improve your gameplay and higher your chances of going into Master lobbies. Today's episode is going to cover movement around the map, and it's going to be more of the advanced movements rather than simple things, simply due to the fact that I think a lot of the people who watch me probably already know the simple things. I'm assuming so. Please correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, because I'm more than happy to cover a basic movements video, because there is a lot to talk about in movement. A lot of Call of Duty is movement. It's one of the biggest things. So jumping straight in, the first topic I'm going to cover is jump shotting. This essentially is where, as you're shooting somebody, you press jump. But essentially what it does, it shows their aim assist slightly off. They start aiming for your toes, which obviously does less damage, and it gives you headshots like that, which obviously kills faster. So yeah, jump shotting's a huge thing to do, as well as drop shotting, which is the next thing I'm going to be covering. But back to jump shotting, I would recommend jump shotting most of the time around corners, especially in S&D where sliding is super loud and you're going to give away your position and easy intel if you do slide, especially if you're on wooden floor such as this. Sliding is super loud, whereas jumping actually doesn't do too much noise. But yeah, I'll shoot a grenade from the bot teammate there. Yeah, jump around corners. For example, if I take you over here, jump around corners often can win you gunfights where you think drop shotting around a corner or sliding around a corner is less beneficial. So for example, if I knew someone was in here and I managed to get over here, I would, instead of sliding around like this, because chances are if you're in here you're going to be pre-aiming either here or here, you're not going to be looking up here. So if you jump off, by the time you've got your first shots, chances are they're going to be shooting at your ankles, and they're not going to be pre-aim there, so you're going to have the element of surprise. Yeah, so jumping around corners can be beneficial. It's good for checking corners without committing to the slide. Yeah, this swiftly moves on to drop shotting. I don't fully recommend. Drop shotting has been the thing in Call of Duty for absolutely absolutely years. But I wouldn't recommend doing it quite so much on this game, simply due to the fact that the time to kill is so, with the time to kill, if someone's aiming at your body and you drop shot them, chances are by the time you land on the floor, they're going to hit your head and you're going to be dying super quick. However, I would recommend drop shotting around corners. So for example, if P1's active here and we know someone's there, drop shotting like this, taking the angle like this, didn't quite do it there, throws them off guard. They're not completely expecting it, and I would recommend doing so in places which they would not expect, because if you're laying down, they're just going to hit your head, and it's GG's after that, because once you get hit for headshots, chances are you're going to lose that gunfight. Next thing I'm going to be covering is shouldering, and this is essentially where, for example, if you want to check for intel in the corner over here, instead of just sitting in this window and seeing things, jiggle peek or shoulder like this. And this is essentially all I'm doing here is moving my left analog stick left and right, and I'm crouching up and down. And this gives me quick, easy intel without fully committing to the challenge. The same goes for when you slide across doors. Say for example, this hard point, if people are on it, instead of just running out like this, I don't know if anyone's here, I don't know if anyone's there, I don't know where they are, I slide across and I've got the intel. This isn't such a good example because there's no really area that side. Same thing, just jumping across, you get the intel, then you can reach out, knowing exactly where they are. Yeah, so jiggle peeking, sliding or jumping across doorways is absolutely key. So same goes for same goes for here. You get quick intel if you jump or slide across without actually having to commit to it. So then when you know where people are, you can commit and you've got the biggest chances of winning that gunfight as you possibly can. So jiggle peeking and crossing doorways like that essentially do the same thing. Easy intel without fully committing. Yeah, so that covers that. Next on my list is going to be sliding, and specifically sliding down slopes or stairs, and well, this goes in sliding across doorways and sliding off things. So one of the spawn points on this map is here, and if you wanted to cover P2 straight away instead of P1, you could simply do that, and that instead of mantling over or just simply dropping like this, it makes you propel from the ledge, giving a boost of speed. The enemies, it's harder to track for the enemies, and gets you around the map quicker. Same goes for a place in here. You could do that, it suits you off. And right there, see that slide? That is, see how quick that is? If you ran over that, chances are, see, that's super slow. Whereas if you slide over, it's a quick way of getting over, and you sort of crouched at that point. So if you're running from someone over here, you're going to be harder to hit. Same goes for if you are trying to ledge jump or ledge slide over into a hardpoint if you want to get somewhere quickly. Ooh, didn't quite do it there. That's the enemies. You jump and then hold slide as you're about to hit this. So jump, slide, and then you do that. This is mainly used to enter things just for quick movement. It gets you around the map quicker, and yeah, you can do rush roads with it and things like that. Now we're going to be moving on to slide cancelling, which is an extremely popular mechanic within the game. And this is essentially where you slide, crouch, aim, jump. Slide, crouch, aim, jump. In fact, you can do it on the spot without actually having to aim. So you can do it without aiming, and it looks like this. And the reason for doing this is so that you can pop out of headies really quick. Instead of walking up to it like this, you come to the middle of it and then pop. It used to be a bit more abusive because usually the camera from someone else's perspective couldn't keep up with this movement. But nowadays it's pretty much more accurate, but it's just a fast way of getting to cover and then popping up without really the people realising it and being a bit more like a jack in a box, essentially, like surprise, here I am. So that's slide cancelling. So I'm just going to go through it quickly again. Slide, crouch, aim, jump. If you do it wrong, you do end up doing this. Hang on. I'm doing it quite there. You end up doing like a slide jump. Which isn't ideal really, because you end up lingering in the air for quite a while. Next is going to be Stutter Sprint. Now this is the fastest way to maneuver around a map, and I would only recommend doing this if, well, with a pistol out, especially if you know no one's around. And this is basically sprint, stop, sprint, stop, sprint, stop, sprint, stop. But obviously faster, looks like this, and you do end up getting around the map really quickly doing so. I do the same using a sub, so I'd only use it with using a pistol if I know that no one's around and I'm not going to be caught with a pistol, because I will lose that gunfight. Whereas when I'm using an SMG, running like this, you get the accelerated speed because you're sprint stuttering, and also every time you pause the sprint, you're ready for a gunfight. I think I covered this in my last video briefly, but essentially doing this makes you move around the map quicker, and your gun's always up and ready every so often to take on another gunfight, which is absolutely huge, especially with the competitiveness and skill gap in the game. Next, I'm going to cover bunny hopping, and this is essentially where you jump, like essentially a double jump. So you jump around a corner and then jump again as you hit the floor. So as you hit the floor, jump. There is a way to do this so the jump is a bit more, and you do that. Or what you could do, this is something that people do use, and again this is just a bit of maneuverability to sort of throw the enemy off essentially. Same as sliding, same as drop shotting, same as jump shotting. If you jump, slide and then jump very quickly, it looks like this. And it's a quick way of jump shot, bunny hopping, sorry. It's a bit of a fiddle to do, but it does throw your enemies off, throws the aim assist a bit off, and gives you, again, a high chance of winning these gunfights. I don't know why they spawned there, that was bizarre. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Actually, an extension on that point. If you jump around a corner, bunny hopping again is also another good way. And essentially, it's basically pairing jump around a corner and then a jump shot. That's essentially all it is. But it means that the enemy, you're gonna win that. Well, the chances of you winning that gunfight are pretty high as long as you're accurate. Next is going to be crouch shotting, and this is where essentially you spam the crouch button as you're shooting, like this. And this basically makes you quite hard to hit. If you just took your engagements while crouching, chances are you're going to get headshotted. And however, crouch shotting like that means, especially with the ARs, this isn't so much a thing with an SMG, because in those close range engagements, a lot of people do tend to aim for the chest, so you do get headshotted when you crouch shot like this. But if you're an AR and you're shooting a long range, if you crouch spam, you're going to be harder to hit. So I would recommend doing so in those sort of gunfights. Let me just show you another example here with another unsuspecting enemy. There we are. It's essentially moving as much as possible when you're in gunfight, and it's completely situational. Different things such as jump shotting or drop shotting can be good or bad depending on the situation you're in. So it is completely situational, and it is about trying it all, seeing what's not so good in certain situations, seeing what's good in other situations, and just learning from it. As you can see, I'm in bots, and this is something I would heavily recommend if you're trying to get some new movements and jump straight into a league play match, and try drop shotting or crouch shotting for the first time, or even slide cancel for the first time, because chances are you're not going to be amazing at it, and you're just going to get caught with your pants down. So yeah, finally, well, not finally, there's a couple other things, is ladder skipping. Now, there's a couple of CDL maps with ladders, including this one. There's a couple on Checkmate. I don't think Garrison has it. This is essentially where instead of climbing a ladder, you jump straight up it. So you see this ladder here, you could walk up to it and do that. Obviously that takes time, it's ridiculous. Now a lot of people do jump up the ladder and then climb up it, which is quite a common thing, so jump and then climb. But there's one even better than that, and that's jump, jump, and that just sends you straight up to it, like that. If you actually ace that move, you can actually do the jump almost in one go. And it basically, you can't shoot well on a ladder, so as long as you're on a ladder, you're at a disadvantage. So getting off that as quick as possible is absolutely key. Here, look at that. I barely even climbed the ladder, straight up to the top. So yeah, I'd recommend doing that instead of trying to jump onto the ladder and climbing up the rest of the way. Jump, and then when you get close to the top, on longer ladders, jump again. Finally, this is going to end off the video. I think the video's already like 30 minutes long, which is absolutely ludicrous, as I've only covered like the advanced techniques rather than any of the basics. This is going to be grenade sliding. Essentially what this is it's a way to send your grenades further. Now, commonly it used to be you jumped to throw your grenades faster, like this, like that, and that used to send your grenades further. Essentially off spawn, that's what you do. However, the technique that I'm about to show you can improve that even more. I was about to show you before I knew, and I'll tell you what's doing now. My hellstorm even. So, as you're running, press jump and the LB or RB, or R1 and L1, and it does this, like that. So, jump, gets it ready, and that's the first step. The next step, what you want to do is slide, like that. So you end up jumping with it out and then sliding with it in your hand. There we are. And then what you want to do, you want to let go of the stun during the slide, so it ends up looking like this, and it just absolutely yeets it across the map, like that. So the process there, the buttons are jump at the exact same time as you hold the grenade out, slide, and then let the grenade go. That's essentially what you do. And that just sends grenades absolutely far. It's a good way to get quick info on bigger maps such as Checkmate, and even this bit off spawn, see like grenade check in some areas of the map. So we're coming to 15 minutes. This is going to be the end of the video. I am going to hopefully segment the video, so if you want to skip to certain parts, you can. And if you do want me to cover the more basic things, do let me know in the comments and I will do so. Otherwise, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed or found any of this useful. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.